So the other day, I was sorting through my old notebooks. You write on a few pages, you toss them in the corner, and then you pull them out again later. And I was sorting through them and flipping through the pages and throwing away the stuff that I'd already done or I'd moved past. It wasn't something I needed anymore. And I came across a notebook that I forgot I had. And it was back from when I had the opportunity to teach at the Highlights Foundation in Chautauqua, New York. And I believe it was 2003. It was Can I Pray With My Eyes Open was already out, and I think Oliver's Must Do List was just about ready to come out. And so, I read through these things and was just totally thrown back into that time when it blew my mind to come home and flip on the answering machine. This was way back before we had cell phones. Flip on the answering machine and hear that it was Kent Brown calling from the Highlights Foundation and asking me to come teach. Now, I didn't feel like a teacher. I had a couple books out. I had been teaching for correspondence school, and I was going into prisons a few days a week, and I was teaching there, but I didn't feel like a teacher. I didn't feel like I was enough of a pro. I didn't know enough that I could go teach anybody else anything about writing. Who was I to think I could teach them? But the funny thing was that before Kent Brown called me, I was thinking about applying to get a scholarship to go as a student. That's how little I thought of myself. I figured, we're always students. Don't get me wrong. We're always learning. But I didn't think of myself at this level. I thought, no, I just need to see if I can get them to fund a scholarship for me to go and learn from these other people so that I can become a real writer. Okay, the mind games we play with ourselves. So I read through the notes, and it really, I don't know, it was a mind shift for me to go do that, because the talk I gave was about finding your creative courage. And I realized that that has been the through line for anything I have done in my entire life, has been, how do I find the courage to go do this thing I want to do? And I usually could push through, not always successfully. Sometimes it was a great big fat belly flop. But I always got up and tried again. And so I went to Chautauqua, and that's what I talked about. I talked about finding your creative courage. And it's something I still love to talk about with people. It's something I'm working on right now, a class about finding creative courage. So if you want to know more about that, make sure you go to my newsletter and sign up so that you know what's happening, or send me a message and I'll be happy to add you to the mailing list. But I just, it really flipped my mind to reread those things and realize that other people have always seen more in me than I could see myself. And I bet that's the same thing for you. I bet that your best friend would say something about you that you might find it hard to accept. I know I still have a really hard time taking compliments. I love them. I mean, we all like to hear nice things, but it's hard. It's hard to hear people say those good things about yourself. And let me tell you, I pull out my phone and I screenshot them and I save them. And I hope you do too, because on those down days, we can go back and look at those. But anyway, I just, I was thinking about how we are all probably so much stronger than we realize. And sometimes it takes somebody outside of us, somebody else, to take a look and say, hey, I believe in you. You can do this. Because wow, what an adventure I had stepping outside of my comfort zone and going to talk to people about being brave enough to find their creative courage.